Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast, where this time I'm joined by Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello, mate.
And Steph is off partying somewhere, isn't he? So
yeah. It's life begins at.
Yeah,
isn't it?
a 1984 acknowledgement, I guess. Hope the weekend was great, Steph, and you'll enjoy listening to this on Monday morning on your way to work, feeling knackered, I'm sure, but happy as life begins, as Chris said. So look, we're 2 weeks, we're halfway through a 2 week, another long interlull, copyright arseplug.
Yeah.
2 week break for international football. It would be rude not to give a quick rundown on Arsenal's participation in these international games. I think we've had 10 players out, 10 players away with their countries. A quick rundown, I think, as we're recording this, Rice has scored his, I don't know how many goals he's got for England actually, but he's scored a brilliant centre-forwards near-post flick goal. I've only seen the goal, I haven't watched anything else. Did you see the goal? Or
Hands up, mate. I didn't see any of it, no. So I'll be watching the highlights later.
So England beat Finland 3-1 away. I'm not even sure that's par for the course, I don't know. But obviously the big news with regards to England is Saka's injury. Have you heard anything?
Well, I've heard murmurings, as we all have, I'm sure. You know, the latest one I saw was Carsley coming out and saying that he should be okay, but you just don't know the credibility of the sources. You don't know when he said it. And the one thing I can be sure of is that we won't know anything until Saturday next week.
What was it? Is it 5:30 kickoff away at Bournemouth? So at 4:15, we'll know whether he's injured or not.
Exactly. There'll be nothing, as we all know with Arteta and the pressers. It's poker face.
Well, I've heard that it's not too bad and that he's expected to play against Bournemouth. That's what I've heard. But again,
can we share your sources then?
The caveat, no, I can't do that.
It's not News Now, is it?
No, it's not. I haven't been on News Now since the transfer window shut. That was me done for another 4 months until it opens again. And the Odegaard news that dropped during the week, just because he picked up his injury during the last break. I think it was Connor, I can't remember his surname, who broke the news that he's had a setback. But I read Arsblog's post either yesterday morning or this morning, and he said that's not his information. Now, he's probably got a fair in at Arsenal, but he doesn't kind of utilise that. But he said that, to his knowledge, Odegaard has not had a setback. But the issue is not that. The issue is, well, when was he planning to come back anyway? So only if we think he was due back after this international break has he probably had a setback. He was never intended to come back this early. So I don't know. Again, like you said with Saka, I think it's watch this space. When he's announced in a team in a match day squad, it'll be on the bench probably first time, because that's quite a considerable amount of time he'll have missed.
I think they'll probably snap him in training. Will be the first indication that he's able to run without that weird bubble machine around him. You know, the anti-gravity thing. Once he gets filmed in actual contact training, that'll be, get the bunting out, basically.
Because we've got a bit of a tough run after Bournemouth. I know I haven't got the exact order, but I know we play Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea.
And Shakhtar.
And a Champions League game or two in the midst of that before the next international break. I think everybody connected to Arsenal would have loved Odegaard back for the 27th of October, the Liverpool game at home. But we have compensated quite well so far. We're not as fluent as we were with him. Obviously, he's our most creative player. I think he's our captain. I think he's our most important player.
Yep.
And we're missing him, as any team would. But I think it's just a testament to how good our squad is and how good our team is, and Arteta's tactics, have to say, that, we've got by, in some really tricky games, and we've picked up points in every game we've played this season. So far, so good. But again, I'd rather be facing these teams with him in the starting 11 rather than watching us. So that's just an Odegaard and Saka observation. So Raya kept a clean sheet for Spain against Denmark. Marino came on for, I think, half an hour, so that's good. He's picking up some minutes. I think that's important. Calafiori played the full 90 against Trossard, wasn't it? I think, yeah. And I think the Italians went 2-0 up and Belgium came back to 2-2 and Trossard assisted the first one and scored the second one. He played the full 90 minutes as well, Trossard did. Gabriel played the full 90 for Brazil against Chile. Martinelli came on for a few minutes at the end, maybe 10, 15 minutes at the end. I'm not sure. Kivior came on at half-time against Portugal for Poland. I think Portugal won that game like 3-1 or 4-1. So I don't know what the damage was at half-time. I couldn't be bothered to look it up. Saliba played the full 90 minutes as France beat Israel 4-1. And England obviously played their second game this evening. Games to go that I could work out. And again, I didn't spend too much time on this, so I may have missed a country or two. But Belgium play France tomorrow and Italy play Israel tomorrow. So that's obviously Trossard and Saliba and Calafiori again. Oh, I didn't look at Spain. Maybe Spain still have to play a game. I'm not sure. And Brazil play Peru. This is the kind of annoying one. Brazil play Peru at like 1:30 a.m. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So by the time they finish that and travelling back to... I mean, they've done it before, but Gabriel will have played the full 90 minutes again. Mm-hmm. And, we're talking about managing minutes. And, okay, we're blaming England and the internationals for Saka's muscular injury, but we've overplayed him, so I must admit I did have a little thought that Arteta is as culpable as Lee Carsley for a Saka injury, but Gabriel's played a lot of minutes as well. And I'm not sure, I'd love to know, I could easily look it up, I suppose, how much ground a centre-back covers compared to like a right winger, like Saka, up and down the side. I would imagine that a centre-back doesn't cover as much mileage in a game. So I don't know if that makes a difference in picking up injuries.
You're right. I think also the style of movement is kind of crucial. I would imagine that a winger like Saka does a lot more of that kind of lateral movement across, which puts stress on different parts of you.
Yeah, lot of twisting. Yeah, and also the type of player inviting tackles. So Saka gets kicked to pieces during a game, and
he's a higher touch player.
Yeah,
he's a higher touch player. He's going to attract more. Yeah.
So all we can do is keep our fingers crossed that everyone returns healthy and happy, and we have a strong 11 starting the game against Bournemouth on Saturday. Right, so anything else to say about the internationals?
No, just let them be gone.
The United Nations, it's the Nations League, isn't it? It's not the United Nations, that's different.
Slightly, yeah.
What is the bloody point of it? Does anybody know how it works, or does anybody care? I mean, I don't, like, these thousands of people keep turning up to these England games, and I'm like, why? But anyway, maybe I shouldn't.
It's a glorified friendly to just pull in a few more quid, I guess.
Yeah, dollars. In the last week, I did notice two stats, or kind of stats about two key Arsenal players. Havertz, the first one. And this, I had to look this up. I couldn't believe this. But in 2024, so the calendar year 2024, Havertz has the same goal and assist involvement. This is outside of penalties, so not including penalties. He's got the same goal and assist involvement in 2024 as Haaland. 19.
Oh, wow.
We didn't realise it, but the £80 million striker, the £100 million striker was already at the club as a £60 million midfielder.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just thought that was a pretty impressive stat. And a considerable amount of time as well.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the split is in terms of goals versus assists? Because that's
right, okay. I know that Havertz has 11 goals and 8 assists, and I think Haaland has 2 assists, but I'm not 100% on that. So 17 goals and 2 assists. So
which kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't get 3 hat-tricks in succession this season alone. But he hasn't scored for the last 2 games for City.
No, ever since he said stay humble to Arteta.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah, don't cross us, I tell you. We've got powers beyond.
Dark hearts.
Yes. Someone took a photograph of, I don't know what game it was at, maybe the Southampton game. Someone had written Dark Arts FC on the back of their Arsenal jersey, and they were walking around. So I thought it was quite cute. The other player is Saka. And like his stats are just ridiculous. So he's got 7 assists in 7 games. this season, his first 7 games. That's the highest in all 5 big leagues around Europe. He's created the most big chances, 12 in Europe. His overall chances created is 27. Only Rafinha at Barcelona has got more than that in Europe. There's Saka, we still don't think... the more I see of him and the more he produces these numbers, the more I'm reminded of the fans' attitude towards Thierry Henry at the time. His numbers were amazing and his goals were super. But I don't think I left an Arsenal game watching Henry not disappointed that he hadn't scored more or done more. He was that good. Yeah. And I remember saying many times to my mates around where we were standing, that we don't appreciate exactly what we've got here. It's that good, and he makes it look so easy that he should be doing more of it. And I think that's...
Because he's not flash as well. That's the thing. He's not flashy. Yeah. He's just super efficient. And that's maybe where we've fallen into a bit of a comfort zone almost with him, where we just go, well, look, he's done that. He made that look easy. Surely you can do that as well.
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah, why can't he do that 5 more times? Every game. He's been involved in 60% of our goals so far this season.
Isn't it?
Which is, I looked these numbers up because of the injury. And I'm thinking, can we really do without this? So 6 of those, that's 9 goal assists across the 7 games, 60% of our goals so far. 6 of those were either to draw us level or put us 1 goal ahead. So they're really critical goal involvements. Only Palmer and Haaland have more goal involvement combinations this season. I haven't written down what they've got, but because Saka's got 2 goals and 7 assists. He's on 9, and I think one of the other 2's on 11 and the other's on 10. I think Palmer's in the lead, but he got 4 goals in 1 game, didn't he? So that's kind of skewed his numbers a little bit. And Saka's on 49 Premier League goals. He's 1 goal away from 50. And he, whenever that 50th goal comes, he'll become Arsenal's 11th player to hit that tally in the Premier League. And he's still very young. He's so young. His numbers are just brilliant. Anyway, he's certainly earned a bit of praise. And, again, I hope his muscular injury is short-lived.
Here. Yeah, and if you're listening, we don't take you for granted, Bukayo. We really don't.
Increasingly, we will never take you for granted. At the threat of losing you, no. Okay, so look, we're 7 games in. I asked you and Steph to give me your midterm report. Off you go.
It's basically just it's like a word salad of, thoughts just chucked down on a little Post-it. So
we like word salads.
I'll read it out, and you can kind of decipher it. So I've started by saying, considering tricky fixtures, 2 games played with 10 men we could/should have won. And to see yet to see many players get into their full flow. And I've just bracketed Rice, Jesus, Martinelli's just coming into form. And not to mention the obvious injury to our linchpin. And also bedding in new players, Sterling, Marino, Calafiori and Timber, who's kind of, again, to
borrow... Like a new signing.
To borrow Arsblog's phrase, yeah. he really is. So all things considered, I just feel like we have to be happy so far. We can have our little gripes about the fluency of where we maybe could have played better against Leicester and Southampton at home. We made hard work of it, but we found a solution. We got through it. So yeah, for me, I'm giving B+. There you go.
B+, right? Okay. Well, I'll read Steph's before then he said midterm report B+ brackets given circumstances. Injuries were always going to impact at some point. We've done well to cope with our Odegaard, but those iffy spells against Southampton and Leicester are a worry. What were you 2 expecting? Considering out of the 3 of us, I'm the one that's the most optimistic in terms of predicting results. I think we've done really well. You've got to factor in the fixtures and the circumstances within the 2 games that we did drop points in. The red card against Brighton is the one that sticks, really. Man City, you'd have taken that at half-time in the Man City game, you'd have bitten their hands off for a draw, I'm sure. I certainly would have. But again, Odegaard missing, our best player. Not just offensively, but defensively. He leads the press. He triggers it. We can't give ourselves anything less than an A. it's I'll go an A-. If we're doing plus and minus, A-, because it's not full marks or full maximum points rather. But I think we've done brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
And just by comparison, so I've drawn 2 comparisons of the first 7 games this season. After 7 games last season, where we're sitting on 17 points this season, 5 wins and 2 draws. Last season, we were sitting on 17 points, 5 wins and 2 draws. But look at the opponents. Okay, last season, we drew 2 home games against Fulham and Spurs in the first 7, and then we'd won at home against Forest and Man United and won away against Palace, Everton and Bournemouth. But look at those 3 away games, Palace, Everton and Bournemouth. Right, okay, Don't get me wrong. We'll be doing a preview for the Bournemouth away game on Saturday, and I'll be nervous as hell at kickoff. But I'd much rather our chances against Bournemouth, Everton and Palace away than Spurs, Man City and Villa away, which are the 3 away games we've played this season. So I then wanted to compare like-for-like games. And so for Southampton and Leicester, I've just replaced them with Burnley and Luton. And we were sitting on 16 points, so 1 point fewer like-for-like. So we've clawed on that 2-point deficit with Man City. We've got 1 point back. So in 7 games. So we're on course to win the league, Chris. It's good. We beat Wolves last year 2-1 at home. We lost away to Villa, which is where the difference is. We lost 1-0. We beat Brighton at home 2-0, and we drew 1-1 with them this season. We beat Spurs away 3-2, 1-0 this season, and we drew City 0-0 away last season and 2-2 this season. We beat Burnley at home 3-1, and we beat Luton at home 2-0 to kind of mirror the 2 results against Leicester and Southampton. And I know there were iffy spells in the Southampton and Leicester games, but there's very rare a game where any of the top teams don't have iffy spells within those matches. So I think you 2 are very harsh.
I didn't mean to be like uber critical. I just felt that giving an A when we could, like I said, should have won 2 games that we had 10 men in.
Do you blame us for not winning the City game?
No, again, I don't want to be harsh and say it's just that we could have won it. We could have, and I suppose, like you, I feel frustrated that Trossard allowed the referee to have a chance to make that decision. That is as far as I'd go in criticising Trossard.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we've had the 2 red cards are for the same thing, and you won't see any other club penalised like that this season, haven't done and won't do, it is deeply frustrating. That is. But I don't know. We were unlucky to concede a 98th minute equaliser at City, but then we were quite fortuitous to get a 94th minute winner against Leicester as well. So, swings and roundabouts. The Brighton one is the one that sticks for me. I think our tactics were all wrong. I think Brighton at home 1-0 up. I don't think we should have gone so much defensively. Away at City, absolutely. Totally on board with that. But anyway, I've said that, and I'll probably keep saying it from time to time as we move on. Okay, 2 B pluses and an A minus.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, no. I mean, again, I think the context, is important with injuries and so on.
Hugely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about our opposition, our opponents? Anyone? I mean, look, I've just written down, so City are obviously second, Liverpool first, Chelsea maybe a surprise package at 4th, but their fixture list has been quite kind by comparison to the 3 teams above them. United are in 14th. Lol. Spurs are 9th and Villa 5th. I have left Newcastle out of that, but it's because I don't like them. I also forgot about them. Anyone surprising you? Anyone you worried about more so than, like, obviously, Man? Are you as worried now about Man City as you were at the start of the season, Rodri?
No, I mean, that's definitely, we've said it before. I don't like seeing players get injured. We can kind of have a bit of almost a snigger at it because of the way he, been mouthing off. But it's obviously an advantage to us, and it's just a shame that we've got our linchpin out as well. Not
for as long, hopefully.
No.
So what about the other rivals as such?
I think, as you've touched on, there aren't any real surprise packages, and Liverpool have had kind fixtures. I hope to see them kind of fall away a bit. Chelsea likewise. Villa, I kind of expected them to be there or thereabouts. So I can't say there are any surprise packages as such. I just feel that we've gotten a few really tricky fixtures out of the way, and you just want to get on with that kind of... The Christmas period is going to be crucial, as it always is, that you just want to have the full squad back. You know, if we've got Odegaard for the Christmas, from December onwards.
I don't know. We've got that first week in November. I don't know which order it is in, but we're away to Chelsea. That's on a Saturday. On the Wednesday, we're away to someone in the Champions League, Inter Milan maybe.
Yeah.
And on the Sunday, we're away to Newcastle. It might be the other way around. I don't know. But that's all right. We've got 4 days off between each of those games, so that's good. But that's a huge week. Another huge week, like the City and Spurs away games in Atlanta midweek in the Champions League. I'd like Odegaard back for those, please.
Well, I would. If we get him for Christmas, that's when, there's that sort of shakedown where you start to see the gap appear because the games come thick and fast. I just hope by the new year we manage to get on top. Yeah,
I agree. I don't think there's any great big surprise. I think Villa are doing well. I fully expected Villa, and I still expect them to struggle to keep both balls in the air, Champions League and Premier League. But they're playing really well, and I really like Unai Emery. I liked him as a person, as an Arsenal manager. I thought he was just the wrong time for him. I think he has small club mentality, which fits Villa. Like the underdog, like he plays that. Whereas he had that attitude with us. I remember then that was the frustrating thing for me, is that we'd go into games where we were clearly the better team, but we'd be giving far too much respect to the opposition and changing our tactics to fit their threats. I'm like, no, focus on our threats. Let them worry about us. Obviously, when you go to the bigger games, that's different. And I think that was I don't think he realised that or appreciated that. I think he's good luck to him. I've always liked Villa. And Unai Emery, I'm just annoyed that they took 6 points off us last season. So if you're looking for teams to cost us the league...
We cost us the league.
or the goal that wasn't disallowed at Newcastle. Just where's Steph? Where's Steph? I need Steph here. Look, so far so good. I'd have taken that points tally from those games, not necessarily dropping points at home to Brighton, but absolutely unbeaten, really good. Well, I think only 2 teams have scored more goals than us, so people are having a pop at us for being negative. That's a load of nonsense, as ever. But it's nice to be targeted once again by everybody.
Oh yeah, bring it on.
Kind of channel our inner George Graham, them against us attitude. So look, not much else to say, but I like to have a little quiz to finish off, maybe on a preview pod. But I've got a little fun thing. I've seen this doing the rounds on TikTok, where big fan accounts will do their one player from every team they'd love at their club. So we're not going to do every team, but I did ask you and Steph to give me your one player from our rivals. So that's City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle United. So our rivals, and then Spurs as well as a little addition to that. So shall I read Steph's out first, or do you want to go with yours?
No, go on, read Steph's out.
Right, so Steph, right, hang on. So from Aston Villa, he said Watkins. Man City, Rodri. Liverpool, Salah. Spurs, Van de Ven. United, no one. And then in brackets, maybe Kobe Mainu has potential. Chelsea, no one. Madueke could develop well. Palmer is good, but he's good individually, not part of a team. And Newcastle, Isak, obviously. So what's yours?
Well, there are a few sort of caveats here. So, I mean, if I go through and choose all strikers, it's not because I think they're all going to be able to play at once. I'm just choosing the best from each team. It's not like they're going to slot in.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just saying, from City, I would go Haaland because he's a beast and, goal-scoring machine. Liverpool, Salah. Spuds, Van de Ven, I chose. Toon, I've gone with Guimaraes because I just think we don't have a profile like him, and I just feel like he would be a real asset to us. So he's my choice. And Villa, I was torn between Watkins or Bailey because I really like Bailey. I love his pace and torn us to pieces a few times. Chavs, definitely. Chelsea, I would definitely take Palmer in a heartbeat. He's clearly their best player. And United, I would go Mainu as well, simply because he's got loads of potential and seems like a nice bloke.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's interesting. It's quite interesting. So for City, Haaland, I don't understand how you could not pick Haaland. I mean, I know Steph has a real personal vendetta against him now, so I can see how he was never going to pick Haaland. But like, the guy's a goal machine. It's like, I'm not saying he'd fit into our team, but my God, We know when Steph's always saying he's a git, but he's our git when he talks about Ben White. So I would say that of Haaland is that he is a git, but if he was our git, I would probably love him. And if Haaland played for us last season and not City, he would have won the league.
Oh, if, yeah.
Liverpool, Salah, because I think he'd be good cover for Saka. Chelsea, is it Colville or Colville? I can't remember the left.
Colville.
Colville. So I'd put him or Palmer. But I was thinking more of maybe a need for us. But no, Palmer in terms of... Palmer's got the capacity to score a goal out of nothing, and we don't have enough players that can do that. Saka is probably the only player who can do that. Maybe Odegaard a little bit. But that, I mean, in that game against... Southampton last weekend at half time, that's what I was looking for, right? Where's the stardust here? Who's going to lift this game with a moment of genius? We don't have, what players do you think we have that can do that?
Yeah, very few. I mean, the only other one that's kind of coming through is Nwaneri, because he will run at people and draw people out of position. And
I mean, and then his first involvement against Leicester the previous week, where he just dinked inside 2 or 3 players and shot, and it was going in the bottom corner. The keeper made a decent save. That's evidence there. I'm thinking maybe Declan Rice with the 25-yarder, or Partey when he scored a couple of 25-yarders in back-to-back games last season. Or was it Spurs?
But
against Spurs?
You're not looking or expecting them to do it in a game, are you?
No.
That's the thing. It might come once in a while, but you see it regularly from players who have that natural kind of high-touch dribble, pull people out, cause chaos. And we don't really have a lot of that. We're so structured in the way we play, I think. Which is relentless for the opposition, because we got goal threat everywhere. So we don't have... But it's... we have the cutback goal, which is... from hours and hours and hours and hours on the training ground, and teams know that they know what we're going to do. And who was it we scored 2 cutback goals against? And the manager said, "I'm annoyed because we trained all week to defend against that, and they scored 2 goals from a cutback." And so it's like, just because we're going to do it, doesn't mean you can stop us. It just takes a split second for one of the defenders to switch off, and that's it. We're in. So from Villa. Watkins as a gooner, I think you can't not have Watkins there. Newcastle, Isak, I would echo Steph's, obviously. I just think he's the Thierry Henry Mark II. I just think he's such a superb player. I love him, and I would love him at Arsenal. United, this kind of warms my soul like you wouldn't believe, that we all struggled to come up with a Man United player who we would happily take at Arsenal. You've no idea how well I'll sleep tonight knowing that. and we have all come up with the same player, Kobe Mainoo. That's about it. And that's brilliant. Like, I love it, because they're 14th. They're so bad. So bad. And then, I know we've just talked about our rivals, but I think we have to include a Spurs player as well. I think the best Spurs player at the moment is Kulusevski, and I think he's a really quite a dangerous player. And I like they've moved him more central, and he's affecting the games a lot more. He's a really good player. He's still quite young as well, so I'd go for Kulusevski. Yeah, good shout. So but anyway, that's just a bit of fun, and it afforded an opportunity to laugh at United. So. Yeah, of course. Right, so look, I think we're done. Look, there's not much else to say. No. It's all very quiet. We'll get nothing out of Arteta until team news is announced. Keep our fingers crossed that remaining Arsenal players in international action don't suffer any injuries, and Gabriel and Martinelli get back as quick as they can after their game, and so they're all raring to go against
Bournemouth on Saturday. I haven't looked at the other fixtures. We'll do a preview maybe on Thursday and get that out, looking ahead to the Bournemouth game. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for the chat. See you next time. Cheerio.
Bye. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at NorthBankPod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by The Podcast Company.